Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's reads. This should be on YouTube channel James13 Wicca, just in case you're seeing it somewhere else, that's where it should be. The information like the dice and the cards I'm using, that's going to be below. Of course, if you would like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching. Let's go ahead and get into your selection. Hello, Capricorn. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Capricorn? A lot of passion. A lot of, yeah. So you're in line with what you want. You're in line with moving forward and getting it too. So that's good. Things should be good, but I feel like they're trying to help you see something that maybe you're aware of. Even though you're aware of it, maybe the total way it's going to factor in, that's the thing. You're aware of it, but you're maybe not sure, or maybe not aware of how it will actually factor in. Okay. You've already seen where you want to go. You've already decided on what you want and how to get there. I like this card for you. It's very on point with like where I'm going, who I'm bringing with me, how it's going to benefit my whole life story, the whole thing. Not only do I know what I'm going to get, I know like how it's going to add up. I'm like, well, this person likes that, so they'll get that part and they'll help me with this, so that'll them, as long as they get what they want, they'll keep helping me with what I want, so that works out. And this person, I want them here anyway, and with this that's going to be offered here, they'll stay in this, they'll stay part of this, so I don't know where they are. That's good. It's kind of like, and this other person, I don't want them here, and they don't like that anyway, and I just highlighted that, so that'll keep them from coming anywhere near it, so that's good. And like, I feel like I've seen a lot, and I've planned a lot, and I'm liking where I see this going. This is one of those situations where there are extra possibilities, but it's kind of like there's the base plan. The base plan will work out. There might be some add-ons, but they're like, I'm not planning on the add-ons. If things go well, if things are ahead of schedule, maybe we'll throw a couple extra things in there, as long as it doesn't derail the main plan. You're in line with your energy. You are moving forward. There's a lot happening and you're getting a lot done. But it's already in, you already knew what you were going to do. You already knew what you needed to have. So it's almost like if you're planning for a family trip, for example, it's kind of like, I already know the supplies I need. I already know that I got to book this here and I got to book that there. I already know I got to have this ready. Like, there's certain things on your list you still need to get, for example, but you're like, you already decided what they're going to be, so you just got to go and get them. And there's things you're moving fairly quickly, but it's like already things I just got to go get it. I just have to go see the quality. I have to make sure that that works for me. I have to sure that I agree with this. That type of stuff. So it is moving fast, but it's completely, and there again, there's extra possibilities, as long as it doesn't derail the main plan. It's kind of like, sure, that's fine, as long as it doesn't derail the main plan. We can add some extra benefits here. Sure, fine. It's moving forward. I keep getting that. Why do I keep saying that? What else am I supposed to say about that? It's not that stressful, but there's a little stress. Maybe it's not as stressful for you as it is for others, because it's kind of like, you know, I already know what I need to get done and I know how much time I have to do it. I can do it. Maybe not everybody's going to help as I expected them to, but I already allowed for that. because I'm not letting this go to chance. If they're not going to really help me, if they have one of those moments where they're not dependable and I need them to be, I knew that they were capable of letting me down. So I added a extra time for myself to go in there and get it done if that's what needs to happen, because it will get done. Energy's still good. I feel like another component of this situation is like, I want people getting along. I want people getting along. That's a big component to this whole situation. So I feel like you already planned ahead for that. Like, I already know certain people, they just do things I don't like once in a great while. It just happens. I'm not willing to let that cause any type of damage to my outcome. You've already planned it in. I think I already said it though. I know that they're capable of kind of dropping the ball, so I already allowed extra time for myself if that what needs to be. I'm just not letting it be an issue this time. I'm being very diplomatic about it because of the outcome that I want. I want everybody getting along. I want everything being positive. I don't want to be calling people out on their shortcomings because it surely hasn't stopped it from happening up this far, so why we can just skip it this one time and I'll bring it up at another time if I need to. And that's how we'll do it. I also think you're not going to be shocked when you find that people are kind of getting in the way. People are getting in the way. Can we get a little bit more on that before I go forward with it? You're not going to allow people to get in the way. You already have a goal. You've already committed to the goal. You are not going to allow people to get in the way. Three of Wands reversed and the World card starting to turn like this. Kind of like, I have an outcome and some people are trying to stop it or get in my way. They're trying to derail it. That's not going to be allowed. The Three of Swords is them. Mostly because they're going to fail. They haven't realized that you've already committed. Either one of two things. Either they don't realize you've already committed to the outcome, or two, they don't know you well enough to realize that once you commit to the outcome, you're not going. There's no way you're letting this go. You've already made your mind up with what's going to happen. We're en route for it to happen. It's going to happen. There's a couple different ways to handle this because you will be having your outcome. This isn't a negotiation in that part of this. We've gotten this far. It's kind of like, a year ago, if we said we're going to go on this trip, this family trip, and it comes to the point where we're getting to like a week before, you've done a lot of planning, you've got a lot together, you've booked this, you've booked that, you've gotten the supplies together, and then somebody says, or a couple people are like, I don't think I really want to do this. Well, too bad, we're doing it. Didn't spend all your planning this and getting everything together just so you could cancel on me at the last moment. We're doing this. We are doing this. And it could even be like, maybe it's you and 5 other friends, and they paid ahead of time to be a part of this, and they're like, you know what, I don't want to do this now. I want my money back. And you're like, no, that's not, you're not getting your money back. I already booked the stuff. I'm not gonna, if I try to cancel these plans, we're going to be out money because of that. And I'm not willing to be out money because you decided you wanted to change your mind. You're going to take the loss. I'm not. That's how that's going to go. Is that brutal? I don't know if that's brutal, but I feel like if somebody tries to cancel a week before, like, you ever hear people trying to cancel the wedding a week before? Like, if you need to cancel, but you're probably not going to get all your money back. In some cases, you won't get any of it back because people have planned and bought things, and it's just not going to work that way, especially if you cancel the wedding the day before and people have already bought the food and prepared it. Sorry, you're still paying for it. You're still going to pay for it. You got to cancel the wedding, but you got to do what you got to do, but you're not getting the money back. People already spent that money to make your event happen. It's kind of feeling like that type of energy. Does that make sense? Kind of like, you can cancel, but you're not getting your money back. That's kind of, I feel like that might be one of the ways this goes. Kind of like, no, you're not getting your money back. However that works for this situation. Like, no. The two different ways you can handle this from this point forward, because you're going to have your success. You're going to have it. We're not negotiating that. You can do it yourself. All these different aspects, that gives me a lot of stress. I'm getting hiccups, which when I get hiccups, it's a lot of stress. Excuse me. And that's the hard way to do it. Would you succeed? Yeah. Would it be fun? No. Does it have to go that way? No. The hiccups are really overwhelming all of a sudden. Okay, the other version, which might be a little bit of a hurdle to get over, but if it's worth it, you'll decide if it's worth it or not, quite frankly. The Empress in balance does oversee the whole situation, does take care of a lot of people, but make sure those people care for her just as much as she cares for them. She's included in the bounty, and she makes other, it's kind of like, if we're going to make it really simple, if it's like a meal, dinner, just for argument's sake, it's a big dinner, she'll organize the whole thing and say, all right, you're going to make this for the beginning part. You're going to make a couple of these sides. You're going to get a little bit of the dessert together. You're going to set the table. I'm going to help through the whole thing, and I'm going to make the main deal. So I'll make sure it all goes off. But you're going to do that, and you're all going to help each other and clean up at the end. Like, you're going to do this stuff, and you're all going to look out for each other. You're going to help each other as we go forward, and you're going to look out for me too. You're going to make sure you save some for me. Like, I'm included in this too. That's when this card is in balance. And I feel like that's another way to do this. Kind of like anybody who's still included in this situation, it's kind of like, all right, I'll look out for you, but you all have to do your part. And this is what your part's going to be, and this is what your part's going to be, and that's what your part's going to be, and you're all going to work in tandem. And if you don't work in tandem, you're not going to be a part of the dinner. You're not going to enjoy the dinner. So don't show up if you're not willing to participate. Because if you show up at the door and you didn't bring what you were supposed to bring, you're going to go right back out that door. That's the way to handle it. Capricorn is pretty strong, and if you've made up your mind that's how it's going to go, then that's how it's going to go. And if these people know you at least partially well, at least a little bit, they should know that, if you say it, you mean it. Because there could be some conflict here, but it's also like you either play the game the way it needs to be played, or you get out. Show up with what you're supposed to show up with, or go on. Don't bother. You walk in that door with nothing, you'll walk right back out with the same thing. Don't even bother. I'm looking at this card, so this card is here. It's part of what's going on. This is the Ascending the Mountain. Getting people to play their part and letting them know you show up with nothing, you leave with nothing. So like if it's a dinner party and you were supposed to bring part of the hors d'oeuvres, you were supposed to bring part of the sides for the dinner, you were supposed to bring part of the dessert. If one of you shows up, whoever shows up without what they're supposed to bring, you're going to go right back out with the same thing. You're not going to participate. You're out. Don't even bother showing up. You might want to call and tell me you're not coming, but don't bother coming. I don't know. Do I need to say it again? I think we're good. Because I get that people here, especially if they know you at least a little bit. I mean, come on, you're Capricorn. Don't show up and not do your effort. That's not going to fly. That's not going to fly. They should be putting in their effort if they know you a little bit. There's some people who maybe you're connected with and you're like, they never put in their effort. Well, they're not going to this time either, but it's up to you whether you put up with that or not. And you have your reasons if you do. I respect that. If you put up with that, you have your reasons for doing that, and that's your business. I feel like for some of these people, this will be a new way of doing things, and it not only gets them to be more engaged with the situation, I feel like it makes the bounty that much better for them. Some people, when they're, I don't want to say forced, but they're allowed to participate a little bit deeper, and they get that responsibility level a little bit upper, like a little bit more responsibility than usual. Sometimes it just makes it much better in the sense of what they get out of it and what they put into it. If you follow me, it makes the whole thing better. Some people, they just do better when they have responsibility, and this might be one of those cases. The outcome I see here is like you're getting your outcome. It was never a negotiation with that. You got the passion and the pleasure. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be happy with your outcome. You're going to get there. There's a question mark after this. The question mark, I feel like whatever happened here when there was a problem. So like we were going, like if somebody wanted to cancel or just they didn't want to be a part of it or something, whatever that was. There might be something unsettled with that. And if there's something unsettled with that, you have the possibility, it was a grace and something, grace and gratitude. You're going to know what you will and won't allow after this. So based on how this played out, whoever did whatever they did, you might decide, well, that's the last time I do this with them. You might have already decided that. You already know where you stand with that. There's no need to argue. There's no need to be violent about it, whatever that means, verbally or otherwise. You just state your case and then you just let it sit there. I would make it clear. And when I say that, like, not only to the person that you're feeling this way about, but other people that are interconnected with you and this person. Because, like, we don't want any misunderstandings later. But the grace and gratitude is like, it's just like, it's just like very like, we won't be doing this again. That's it. Done. And then just walking away from it. If you've already made up your mind, you know yourself well enough. If you've already made up your mind, how likely is it you're going to change your mind? And if you've already made up your mind, you're like, no, there's no changing my mind. That is that. I have a lot of Capricorns in my family. It does very much seem to me once Capricorn has made up their mind, well, that's that. At least that's been my interpretation. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like once you've put your foot down and that is that, there's no real negotiation after that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But that's how I've taken it. Got a bunch of Capricorns. I got a couple siblings and yeah. Anywho, if you're not in the place where you're going to negotiate, then why play the game? You don't have to. The grace and gratitude says we don't have to be mean about it in any sense. You just state your case and walk away. They want to be upset? Well, good luck with that. Be upset over there. I don't have time for you. I've already made my point. You don't have to participate in that. You don't have to get into an argument about that or anything. Especially nowadays when we have texting, you could very well make a group chat, state your case, and then exit the chat and then block that person that's annoying you and just leave it at that if that's what you wanted to. Made your point, said your piece, bye. That's it. We're done. You don't owe anybody anything beyond that if you don't want anything beyond that from them. So that's your business. Take it with a grain of salt. Readings are for entertainment purposes only. You know how that goes. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.